Hello students of class 11, welcome to the online tutorial classes for Vidya Bhavan High Secondary School. This video is for class 11 nutrition. The chapter that I will continue today is the carbohydrate. This video is part 12. In the previous video we completed with the excess and deficiency of the carbohydrate in our diet, and today we will start with some short notes. So the first short note is on glycemic index. So the glycemic index is something that is the ability of the food items to raise the blood sugar level in the body, and it is measured in the term of glycemic index. The area above the fasting glucose concentration is calculated and is expression as a percentage of the area obtained after the ingestion of the 50 gram of the glucose and 50 gram carbohydrate from white bean or glucose, you can say. The higher the area under this curve and higher the glycemic index of the food. So let's check how it can be measured and what are the high glycemic food and the low glycemic food and what are the index of it. Let's check.
So the glycemic index can be defined as the ability of the carbohydrates to raise the blood sugar level in the body. The glycemic index is a quantitative assessment of foods based on postprandial blood glucose response exposed as a percentage of the response of an equivalent carbohydrate portion of a reference food. The reference food is usually white bread, while has a glycemic index of about 100. Sometimes the raw glucose also. So there are some kind of the factors that can affect the glycemic index is like the nature of the starch, that means the particular size of the starch. The next, the type of the monosaccharide component, that means how much monosaccharide is present, because sometimes the ripe food have low level of the monosaccharide or the sugar or fructose level is low, but when it got ripened, then the percentage of the sugar became high. The percentage of the fiber, that means how much it can work as the storage compound, it is also the factor. The next is cooking or processing, that sometimes the cooking procedures can resist or can act like an inhibitor. Okay, so these all factors can affect the glycemic index of some food. Now we are going to discuss about the measurement of the glycemic index. So how we can measure the glycemic index of a certain food. So the glycemic index is equal to the increase in plasma glucose after 2 hours of consuming 50 grams of carbohydrate from the taste food by increase of plasma glucose after 2 hours of consuming 50 grams of the glucose in water into 100. That means the glycemic index it's always been in 100, it is in the percentage, and we know the percentage of the glucose, that is 100. So according to it we have to find out that the food that we are consuming, what is the glycemic index of this particular food, and it is obviously the postprandial equipment or postprandial measurements. So let's find out some glycemic index of some regular foods, like sucrose is 67, glucose is 100, fructose is 23, honey 75, milk 28, potatoes 78, oranges 45, lentils 30. So that means you can say that the glucose have actually a very high glycemic index, as well the potatoes have a high amount of the starch, so it is also have a very good glycemic index, a very high glycemic index. Such as honey also have very high glycemic index. So this food can be accumulated in our body and can store in our body, can increase the carbohydrate level in our body very fast. As well, the fructose glycemic index per gram is very low, that is 23. For the lentils, like any type of the dals, have the glycemic index low, that is 30. Actually, according to the many dals or The different kind of the dals have the different glycemic index, but it is the all over value, you can say. So this is the all about the glycemic index. There are more related things of the glycemic index, like glycemic load. It is also a very important part. So let's discuss this.
So after the glycemic index, we are going to discuss about a new term, that is glycemic load. So glycemic load is nothing but the total carbohydrate accumulation of a regular day diet. So glycemic index actually ignores how much of the carbohydrate type of food we are consuming, a person eat actually. So the Water Village of Harvard University pioneered with the concept of this glycemic load. That is the glycemic load which assesses the total glycemic effect of the diet and has proven very useful in the epidemiological studies. So it is a product of dietary glycemic index and the total dietary carbohydrate. It is the sum total of the total glycemic index or total carbohydrate of a day. So if the glycemic load is 10 or less, it is considered as low. If it is 10 or less, it is called low. And if it is within 11 to 19, it will called medium. And if it is more than 20, then high. So by this, if we know about the food's glycemic load, then we can easily understand that what are the foods we have to consume and what are not. For the patients also, for the diabetes patients also, for the normal diet also, for the weight management also. And consistently eating low glycemic load foods even out blood sugars peaks and valleys with the turn help in the appetite and weight under control. Okay. Eating low glycemic load foods also reduce the risk of the developing type 2 diabetes. The type 2 diabetes I have already discussed in the previous video. The emphasis should be on low glycemic load foods that are whole grain, plant oils, vegetables. Steady blood glucose also help to keep the appetite in check and which makes maintaining a healthy weight easier. One need to choose good carbohydrate and good fat to be healthy, and obviously after that they have to choose wisely that which foods are low in glycemic load that can actually manage their health. Okay, so I'm completing this video with this. In the next video we will discuss about some more short notes. Till then, thank you.